Here. Hello, hello. Nice. Now we are.
You got it. You got it.
Thank you so much because the screen changed when you left it. So there's this one menu I was missing for the recording. So I got it. Wonderful. Love you for that. Thank you, Christina, for Juanita for helping me out in this. Because usually I was when I was setting up the Zoom meetings, it was already Felicity is here. Hello, hello, Felicity. Welcome. Good evening. Happy to have you here. And let's share my screen first. And we'll just go to the beginning. Yes, it's just this Zoom is driving me sometimes crazy. Hello, Zoom, just move it. Okay. So we'll give it like 1 more minute. I cannot see the clock right now, but we'll give it 1 more minute. Before we start, I want to show you. This is the chestnut that was bought in a store. And this is the size of the natural one. You see the sizes? The cultivated chestnuts are usually very big, and the chestnuts you can find in nature are usually smaller, well, way too small. Well, I find the natural chestnuts to be more suitable when you want to eat them. The problem only with them is it's very kind of difficult to peel them. You can cook them in water for about 10 minutes, the chestnuts, and after they are cooked, you can eat them. But it's very labor intensive when you have these small ones to peel them. However, sometimes the taste of the wild chestnut is much better than the one of the big chestnuts. So it's always up to you. You can use the chestnuts in the fall time to basically for like inner energy for revitalization. Actually, Hildegard describes a couple of remedies you can make out of chestnuts. And the way I use them, I usually add them to food, I add them to soups. I usually cook out of them when it's the season of chestnuts. You cannot really store them like for a long time because they'll sometimes it's moldy on the top. You never leave them in a plastic bag. If you leave them in a plastic bag, they will get moldy within 48 hours. So never leave them there. If you leave them outside in like some place where it's cold, then they might last, but sometimes they just get I would say they will lose the weight of the inside, and they will just dry out. So every time you buy them or you collect them, you try to kind of process them within 48 hours just to have the benefit out of them. They are very nice for your nerves. You can support your nerves during the springtime and well, during the fall time, excuse me, not the springtime, by eating them like regularly every day. I was having a post about it, about the chestnuts, and when you keep eating them regularly, they will really add this wonderful like layer to your nervous system. So after eating them for a longer time period, like for a month, every day, you will really feel relieved, and it's very good for your nerves. So today we came to talk about the natural cycles and human health. So let me start this. This is a very nice topic to talk about. What we should understand in our life is that our body or our whole life run in cycles. I have this like a simple graph here showing that we have a daily cycle, we have a monthly cycle, and we have a yearly cycle that from the point of energy that is there for us is always the same. When you look at the daily cycle, it starts like imagine these are not like a month, or this is the basically the graph was designed for the months of the year, but we can use it also for the hours. And you will see that the energy from early in the morning is rising. And in a daily cycle, the peak of the energy is at 12 o'clock, and then it's going down. Why am I telling you this? Because every time you start working on something, you always should plan the most, I would say, complicated things at the beginning of the day when you have the most energy. Also, when you will be cooking, you will notice a very interesting thing, or you will be baking. When you are using yeast to create a dough, that the dough will rise in the morning hours much faster and much better than in the afternoon hours, because it's regulated, or the nature is regulated by the basically natural cycles. And the cycle is the thing during the day that at 12 there is a peak of energy, and after that it's just going down to the evening. Also, when you look at the monthly cycle, it's the same thing. And Hildegard writes about the daily and monthly cycles quite a lot, and also about the yearly cycle. She, for example, writes about the monthly cycle that we are strongly influenced by the moon. And the moon is influencing everything. And the cycle during the month is influencing totally our life, and we should respect it. She writes, for example, about planting, and when you should be planting or seeding certain things, or seeding wheat, or seeding anything in your garden, because it has a direct impact on the outcome. So how much you get out of it. She also writes about the yearly cycle, and you see when you look at this graph and you see the basically the yearly cycle, that we start in January, the first month, and our energy is basically rising, rising, rising to the summer. And in summer, at the end of the summer, it's always like the beginning of August, when you notice that suddenly the nature is like, at least at the place where I live, you will notice that the autumn is slowly coming. So what is happening in the fall in this European region in the middle is that the trees prepare themselves, and also the plants, they will give their gifts in the form of fruits, veggies, nuts, etc. And then they slowly start to go and sleep before the winter. So what we can do what we usually do during the yearly cycle, as Hildegard is describing, in the springtime when the energy is basically rising, in the month of March or April, we will use the spring food to bring us up to the 7th month, to support us on this way and to gain the energy. And also in the fall, when the energy is going down, but we can still use it to our advantage and support our body by using the right fruits, veggies, and nuts in our diet to prepare ourselves for the winter when the body goes to sleep. Also, you should understand when you are preparing the yearly projects for your life, that you should keep in mind this yearly cycle, that you should always plan your big projects for the spring, because you will have a lot of energy for it. And then towards the end of the year, you should plan a project that you don't need so much energy. Of course, there's always, before the Christmas time, everybody gets very, very busy. So we work a lot, but naturally we don't have so much energy. So then our energy can get depleted. So this is what you can keep in your mind when you are basically living and planning for yourself, your time, or your whole existence. So let's move. We already said how to use this energy to our advantage. So you should always kind of find the balance between the work and relaxation. And cooking actually, it doesn't matter when you cook, either in the morning hours or in the late hours. But when you are creating a dough with anything like yeast, or you are making a sourdough bread, every time use the energy in the morning to basically grow the bread very nicely. And the sourdough and also the yeast will really react to the morning energy. So that's my own experience, and that's how Hildegard is describing this energy in her books, and you will find quite a lot of it in her books. Last time I was talking about the book, maybe for some of you that don't know the book, there's a book on the market with the name of Physica. It looks like this. The author is Priscilla Troop. It's the one that I found written in English. and it describes plants, elements, trees, stones, fish, birds, animals, reptiles, and metals. And you can find a lot of Hildegard wisdom in this book. However, I don't know how this happened. It's very thin compared to the German one. The one in red color is also called Physica, but it's written in German and it's much thicker. You see the difference. And this German book is basically from Hildegard von Bingen monastery, and they are issuing books like this. So, but this English one is the best book I can get on the market. If you know about any other book from Hildegard, it's called Physica and it's a different translation, please let me know, because I don't know. Okay. What you should also consider when you are living according to Hildegard is your adaptability of human body. That's what I want to talk about, because adaptability of human body is a good thing and also a bad thing. A good thing is that we can live pretty long the wrong way until our body breaks down, meaning that we keep doing the wrong things. We keep hurting our body, our psyche, and everything else, and our body can survive it. Just imagine people being in a lot of work camps or surviving Holocaust, and they were under harsh conditions, terrible conditions, and they made it through. That's a good thing that our body can adapt. On the other hand, it's pretty bad thing, because if our body would be, I would say, giving us stronger signals that we should return to normal, then we will be, it will be easier for us, and we will return to the normal much faster. And usually, when we live the wrong way, then the signals are there, we ignore them, but the changes are slowly but steady, and they are visible in 5 to 10 years. And you will first notice that something is wrong with your body when your skin reaction goes on, and meaning that you will get some kind of rash on your skin or something, or you will start cough because of your liver is in a bad condition, or you will have this feeling of heart stabbing, etc. So these are all signals of your body that you should not be ignoring. And the body is telling you, please change something. Just do something about your health. So let us talk about what you can do about your health, and Hildegard writes about it in her books. Let's move on to the next one. First, Hildegard writes about a lot of things, but I want to start from the I would say big start. So what defines our health? So first of all, we have to understand our quality of our surrounding. If we live in a house or we live in a flat, so the whole surrounding, if you do have a fresh air or we do have a clean water, it defines our health. Also, it's very important to let the fresh air come into your house, into your flat at least twice a day. So open the windows for 10 minutes, let the fresh air come in, and just close them at least in the morning and before you go to bed at night. The other thing is very important is the mold. If you have a mold in your surrounding, it's very dangerous for you. So try to get rid of the mold and not to breathe in the mold, because it's impacting your health tremendously. And also a huge impact are the chemicals that you might be using at your household. So try to replace them with alternatives. They are better for your health. But what is Hildegard saying about this? In her books, what you will write, you will find, what impacts the human health the most is, I will go category by category, but first let me describe this discretio. You will find about discretio quite a lot in her books. And what does it mean? Discretio is basically meaning it's the right amount of everything. Let's say we'll be talking about the movement, sleep, food, and etc. Each person has its own discretio. For example, someone needs more sleep than the other. Someone needs more food than the other. It's based on the size of the person it's based on his, I would say, how much he or she needs. And discretion is the right amount of certain things. It's the very individual. So it cannot be defined that you should be doing this or that. You have to find out for yourself on your health journey what is doing good to you. So let's talk about the first category that Hildegard describes is the movement. She says we should be moving daily. When you look at the, I would say, recommendation overall, our World Health Organization has the recommendation of 10,000 steps daily. What does it mean? 10,000 steps daily, when I try to follow it, it's about 1.5 hour walk. I would say, pretty fast walk. So every time you have the chance to move, please move. Take the stairs instead of the elevator. Just find ways in your life to move your body. Just don't be comfortable, just try to move. If you, for example, you have the option to drive to the store to buy one or two things, or you have the options to walk to the store, just choose the option to walk to the store and slowly incorporate the walking into your life. What is Hildegard saying? That what is very healthy for us to do is to walk after the dinner for about 20 minutes every day. If you cannot make it every day, just promise yourself that you will do it 2 times or 3 times per week. Just grab your spouse, your husband, your kids, and just go around the block. If it's safe for you to walk outside, just go for a walk for 20 minutes after the dinner. She describes it as being the healthiest for a human to do it. So also the eating habit is very important, and she recommends not to eat very late. Maybe she never defines the time, but I found the time for myself. It's after 7 o'clock. I should never eat my dinner because it's too late for my body. My body has a cycle when I don't digest very well after the 7 or 8 p.m. So I try to have the dinner earlier. What she says about the sleep, she writes quite a lot about it. And when you read the parts about the sleep in her books, you will find that the sleep is very individual. And each person should find his own balance in sleep, his own discretion, meaning some people need, I don't know, 5-6 hours, like my husband, but I do need a little bit more, maybe 8 hours, maybe sometimes 9 hours. For me, it strongly depends on the amount of works I work. When I keep working or I'm doing presentation, I'm preparing different materials, I tend to kind of sleep a little bit longer. But if I'm working manually a little bit more, then I sleep a little bit less. Actually, I found out lately that my sleep is also influenced by my food. If I go vegan, I don't need as much sleep. I sleep about 7 to 8 hours. If I don't eat vegan, then I need a little bit more sleep. Meaning not eating vegan for me is like I do eat meat or dairy or something. So it's with me, but you have to find your own discretion with sleep. That's what Hildegard says. Also, she describes the soul and how it impacts our health. What you can find in her book, actually, it's a very interesting thing that there was a book that was written by Dr. Herzka. He discovered it. Dr. Herzka was the discoverer of San Hildegard. And he wrote a modern book on psychotherapy according to San Hildegard. And what is written in this book, there are very, very interesting things. There are 35 pairs of good and bad human qualities. Even Dr. Hetzka related these qualities to our backbone. So if something hurts in your back, you can actually look up a table and see maybe which good or bad human quality you don't have in balance. And you can try to fix the human quality. It can be, I'll give you examples. It can be, for example, Hildegard describes the despair as a bad human quality to the hope as a good human quality, or exuberance as a bad human quality to discipline as a good human quality, or lability versus stability. So it's a very, very important part that Hildegard describes has an impact on your overall health. So it defines your body, it defines your soul, how you handle your inner, I would say, battles between good and bad. And of course, you try every time to be on the good side. And that's the aim of it, to be on the good side. So if you feel in despair, then try to feed the hope inside you and move more to the good quality, to the hope, and not to stay in the despair. Also, she writes about the food as being I would say, one of the things that support your body. And she writes, we had the lecture before, and she writes about the 4 basic juices that we have in our body. We have 2 good and 2 bad. And when they are in equilibrium, then we stay healthy. The minute one of those juices prevails, we are becoming sick. And she writes a lot. She writes a huge book about how to use the healing food and food that has a neutral impact on our health to support us on our way to the health. Let's say there was a free lecture that I held before, and we were talking about 2 foods that harm our basically bodies, and it was a leek and it was a pig meat. Both of them do not have positive impact on our health. If you want to watch the free lectures, the free webinar that I was holding on the 7th, 8th, and 9th of October, you can go to my YouTube channel and you will find them there. And she describes all the food that it has a tremendous impact on our health. She was describing the wheat and spelt, but what I want to say at the beginning is that she describes also a fasting, how to do a fast. There are 3 types of fasting described in her books. There's this easy fast that I would like to perform with you when you join my course on healing foods, and you will be willing to do it, and you invest your energy on 1 day in 6 weeks. And what she describes is when you keep fasting, it will help you to regenerate, to basically rejuvenate your body from inside out. It will help your body to basically organize itself inside. It will give your body the ability, the energy from the healing food and from the healing spices to support yourself in the long run. So it's very important to be attentive to your food, because it's something what we have to do. We have to eat 3 times a day. And if you learn how to support your body with a healing food, then you will be better off in the long run. So if you'd like to try this out with me, you can join my course, and here's the link to my course. So you can check out the page and see. I will also post the link to our group, so you can check it out there. But what is important here to understand is that you can do anything in your life. You can have bad conditions, for example, bad housing. You can change it very easily. If you okay, you can move out. Maybe you can find a different place to live. You can help yourself with the mold. You can help yourself also in terms of your soul, but you can also help yourself with the food. And Hildegard, for me, is the most wonderful one in terms of defining what's good and then what's bad for the people, because she describes it with her wisdom and with the wisdom received from God. And for me, this is the most important information because I learned the hard way in my life. And I learned that when I keep eating like Hildegard recommends, I stay healthy, I stay positive. It has a tremendous impact on your nerves, on your well being, on your way of thinking. But it also pushes me to basically work with myself in terms of my soul. So if you would like to make a change in the coming future, then you are more than welcome to come to my course and enjoy it. So this is all for today, and thank you for your attention. And I would like to maybe listen to some questions that you might have. I cannot see anybody on the screen. Yeah. Does anybody have any questions? Judy, maybe Christina, Felicity, or Juanita? Are there any questions that you might have? Because I said quite a lot of things in my presentation, talking about the soul. It's a very interesting topic. Is there anyone that has a question? Judy? Judy?
Yes.
Any questions that you might have?
Well, I'm thinking about what you've been saying, especially about food.
Yeah.
Hildegard lived in a certain era.
Yep.
That's past. Air has changed. Water has changed.
Yes.
Earth has changed. So I'm wondering if there are any adjustments we should make to food today that we take for health in order to achieve what it is she was helping us with at that time.
Yeah. Well, actually, it hasn't changed that much. I would say the quality has changed a lot because we started using chemicals and everything in agriculture. But in terms of the energies that she describes, for example, the wheat, everybody is saying that the wheat as a grain is not good for us, etc. And look at I would say, history. We basically genetically modify the wheat so we get, more out of the acre that we planted, and we just treat it with a lot of chemicals. So, but the healing power inside a wheat, or you get it, in that case, of course, if it's not genetically modified. So if you can afford it, get it organic and not genetically modified. And also, she says, everything that is made out of wheat flour, but from the wheat flour that is made out of the whole corn, out of the whole seed, and you bake out of it anything, that it's healing for us. And when you look at the modern science, you will find, for example, that the wheat is not good for us because of this, that, and etc. But I tried it myself. I'm not, I'm partially wheat intolerant. But if I do bake from if I make a whole wheat bread or whole wheat whatever, I'm fine with it. The minute I start using the white wheat or white flour or anything, or just the pure wheat, I mean white in terms of it's a, because what they do, they took the whole grain and they separate the layers, and then out of the separated layers they create flour, they create here and there and that's so they basically deconstruct the whole grain. And when they deconstruct the whole grain, you don't have the whole, I would say, energy there and everything that you need for the digestion. So, and I don't know if you took part at my 3-day webinar, the free one that was in the past, in the 6th, 7th, and 8th of October.
No, I missed it.
Okay. I was talking about a spell there a lot because spelled is very healing. So if you can get hold of spelled, and the one that is also organic, or doesn't even have to be organic, but it cannot be genetically modified, it really supports everybody's, I would say, well-being. I'm talking about people that are not grain intolerant completely. But
Kamut.
Mhm.
How about kamut wheat?
Kamut, she's not writing about kamut.
That
She doesn't.
it's
Mhm.
is that came from, I think, Egypt to
Yeah.
start with.
Yeah,
So
you're
it
right. Kamut came
was
from Egypt. It's a very old grain. It was also not genetically modified because it was not planted that much. Yeah. She doesn't write about certain things. You won't find kamut. You will not find potatoes. You will not find tomatoes. It's interesting that she writes about cucumbers, though. You know, there are things she doesn't write about in terms of the healing and energies. So, but she writes about oats, for example. And oat flakes or oat in general, she writes about it as being healing for people that they are very like they are healthy and strong because and those people will benefit from eating it. But there are people that if they are weak and if they are not healthy, then those people should not eat oat, for example, because it's hurting them. It's not beneficial for their health. So there are quite a lot of interesting things. And what I'll be doing in a course is I will be doing the thing that in every lesson you will learn about 6 or 7 new, I would say, healing foods or spices, and then we will just cook simpler recipes for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So you basically get to touch and to use all the healing foods, and then later on after the course you can take the course material from the whole week and do a fasting, Hildegard fasting, because Hildegard fasting is based, one of them is based on fruits, veggies, and nuts and spices. That's the one I'll be doing in the course of healing foods. But there's also a very strict fasting, also according to Hildegard, but it's hard to do. It's hard to perform for the whole week when you are busy with your work. So that's why I'm creating this course that will go 1 lesson per week for 6 weeks. So it's easier for the people to, get ready, learn how to cook the food, or you can later on, if you want, you can incorporate the ingredients into your own cuisine and benefit in the long run. It's not the thing that you have to cook all the recipes, after finishing the course. If you like the ingredients, you can incorporate them into your own cooking then later on. So that's how I want people to benefit from the healing food of Hildegard. And that's important for me.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions? Christina, Felicity, Juanita?
I just want to clear something. I live in South America.
Yeah.
So when it comes to the cycles, so
Mhm.
for the year, I adjust to the season. Is that right?
Mhm.
I mean, I not when you speak from when you speak from summer, for me summer will begin now. So now is the time when I should use the summer food. Is that right?
Yeah, this is right. It's actually it's a spring summer, like in between at your place. It's a like yeah. If for us it's a autumn winter time right now, or just beginning autumn winter. But every time, like Hildegard recommends to clean our body in the springtime and in the fall time, just to kind of get more energy and energize our body, clean it, and prepare it for the next season. Because also the summer is pretty hard on our bodies because it's very hot there. So we basically, with the healing food, we can support our heart, we can support our nervous system, so our digestive system, and it's very good for us to do it twice a year. Actually, when you look at the Christians, they had the fasting period twice a year. It's springtime, and also it used to be in a fall time too. So I don't know from where the tradition, what's the root of the tradition, but I do know that the Christians, they do this. And maybe other denominations have different, I would say different, how to name it correctly. I don't know, rules or something. So also other nationalities or other denominations are doing in the spring, they are doing, I think Muslims do the Ramadan for 40 days. It's also a fasting type of thing. So they do fast, and they also try to revitalize their bodies, but it's a different type of fasting, as Hildegard describes.
Okay, thank you.
So you can, but you know, it depends if you have but I'm sure you have fruits like, I don't know, maybe squash, or maybe you have potatoes. So the basics is there. You know, maybe if you have spelt, I don't know if you have a spelt in South America. That's a good question.
We can find it, but
Yeah.
there are a lot of things that I can adjust, and we have, of course, a lot of fruits.
Okay, you
There-
have a lot of fruits also. Yeah. Yeah. Actually, Hildegard describes a lot of, well, she describes quite a lot of fruits too, but you will have apples or pears.
Yeah,
Yeah. So you can go for it.
yeah,
I do understand that each continent has different fruits and veggies. And I do consider Hildegard to be, I would say, the medicine for the part of Europe where she grew up and where she really
yeah.
lived.
Mhm.
I'm sorry, we have 1 minute to go, so maybe one more question I can answer and it will cut us off, and then I will just post the recording. Any more questions? No more questions? Okay. So I thank you for your coming and for your attention for today. If you have any questions, just you can schedule a meeting with me and we can talk about it privately. You can write me to love at hildegardplants.com, and just enjoy your day, and come to my page and you can keep learning, because I post twice a week education on in the group and also on my page, San Hildegard Plants. So